Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a foundation first impression and wear test on the Peau Radiant Fluid Matte Foundation. This is a $170 foundation, so I'm really excited to give it a go today. So I have mine in the color BF20. Here's what the box looks like. Really classy, very elegant. I had never heard of this brand before I started working at Whole Brand Fruit, and then they ended up having a counter right next to one of our Charlotte Tilbury counters. Oh wow, this packaging. This is so luxurious. So that is what the bottle looks like, you guys. Isn't that something else? Holy. Beautiful. The shade, it's hard to tell. It could actually be pretty good. I also have the Peau Correcting Cream Veil Primer to try out. That's what that guy looks like. And I think this goes for about $110 as well. So we're gonna have a really expensive base on my face today. I'm gonna try the primer on one side and not the other, just so that we can see if it makes a difference. I'm not a huge primer person. I really prime my skin with skincare, which I have already done today. So I guess I'll just go ahead and add the primer to this side of my face here. Oh, it's a much more liquidy consistency than I was expecting. It almost, look how white it's going on, has quite a strong scent as well. I don't know. Does this have sunscreen in it? Why is it going on so white? What the heck? It feels nice. It feels smoothing. It feels moisturizing. I wonder if I use too much. It definitely has kind of a bit of a silicone-y feel. I don't have the box for this one, so I can't be sure it has silicone in it, but it has like kind of that slippery feel. Yeah, overall it feels nice. I'm curious to see how the foundation will go on over top of it. So here's the side with primer and this side without. I wonder if you guys can see any difference. Because I can't really, besides the fact that this side of my face looks lighter. Maybe it's brightening, correcting cream veil. So yeah, maybe it's meant to kind of brighten a bit. And then let's go right in with the foundation. So just reading from the box here, it says, a liquid foundation inspired by the radiance of a diamond drapes a subtle veil of light over a matte finish. A hybrid of makeup and skincare, exclusive light empowering enhancer amplifies your radiant finish. Formulated with skin empowering illuminator, our exclusive skincare ingredient. Avoid contact with eyes. And then it does say on the bottle to shake before use. I'm going to apply it today with a sponge. That's my preferred way of applying foundation. If it isn't working, I'll switch to a brush, but I'm assuming I'm going to use a sponge. It feels very liquidy in here, much more liquidy than I was anticipating, considering it's supposed to be matte, and usually matte foundations have a bit of a thicker consistency. So it has a nice little pump on the top here. Oh yeah, it's very runny. So you can see the texture of it there, the way it's running down my hand. So I'm just gonna start with one pump and we'll see how it goes. It feels really nice. Like the actual feeling of it on my fingers feels lovely. So I don't really have much acne to cover today, but I do have some acne scarring, some dark marks, some hyperpigmentation. So we'll see how it covers that. The color is really good for me right now, actually. So I would call that a medium coverage. Here's the side with foundation, here's the side without, and one pump did one side of my face and then my forehead. So let me go ahead and just do a second pump. The sponge is working really nicely. It's blending out really easily. It feels really nice and lightweight on my skin, and it is definitely attempting to be matte. However, I have lots of glowy skincare on underneath, so you can still kind of see that shining through. I'm going to try and just build it up a little bit in some areas where I feel like need a bit of extra coverage. Builds up pretty nicely. I have not been liking wearing foundations at all recently. I've been hating the way that they've felt on my skin, and this one is not bothering me so far. It feels really lightweight and airy. It doesn't feel like I have 2 pumps of foundation on my face. So yeah, I would definitely call that a medium coverage. I have some dark marks still showing through a little bit even after building it up, but I actually quite like a medium coverage as opposed to something full, so that's okay with me. In terms of the primed side versus the unprimed side, I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, the primed side definitely looks a lot smoother, especially through this area of my face right here. So I have some texture here, and the texture is much more pronounced on this side than this side. Is it worth the price of that primer to not have that texture show up? I would leave that up to you to decide, but the primer definitely really smoothed out the texture. That's really neat. I actually quite like that. So it's 12:30 right now. I'm gonna go and finish the rest of my makeup, and then we'll come and do a check-in afterwards. And I'm gonna continue to check up on it throughout the day with you guys and just see how it looks. I'll also show you how it's looking in natural light once I get outside. Okay, so here's how we're looking with the rest of my makeup on. I did use a powder to set underneath my eyes and through my T-zone, but I did not set the rest of my face with powder. So here is the primed side versus the unprimed side. It's only been on for 15 minutes at this point. I am gonna set my makeup with a little bit of my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray because I'm gonna be putting on a mask and I wanna give it like its best chance of surviving through that. And I know that a lot of you guys use this product or a product similar to this as well. And I would always use setting spray with foundation. So, okay, so far I am liking it. One thing that I am noticing is that all the little super fine little hairs on my face are more noticeable than they normally are, which is interesting. I wonder if that has to do with the fact that the foundation is meant to be matte. But yeah, I can definitely see them more, and they're much more noticeable on the side with the primer than the side without the primer, which is also really interesting. The primed side is still looking a lot smoother over top of my texture. And does my face look a little bit brighter on this side compared to this side as well? I think it does. So yeah, so far I'm actually really liking that primer. For someone who's like not a big primer person, I feel like I'm into it. So I was also curious about the skincare benefits that they mentioned on the packaging, so I wanted to read about that as well. It says it achieves soft focused skin in an instant, no filter needed, harnesses the power of light to create visible radiance at the skin surface while refining pores and smoothing imperfections, nourishes complexion with a skincare inspired formula and an 8-hour hydration boost, diminishes the visibility of pores and roughness after 2 weeks, provides comfortable 24-hour wear that resists creasing and dullness. So it doesn't say specifically what is in here that would give you those benefits. But yeah, I love when foundation has skincare built into it because I just feel like it's so nice if you're putting foundation on to get extra benefits out of it. Like, why not, right? I do say they also recommend a brush to apply it with, but they're recommending their brush specifically, so I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, it's now 12:45. I'm going to go about my day, live my life. The next clip, I will show you how it's looking in natural lighting, and I'll give you a little bit of an update after it's been a couple of hours. Okay guys, so it's 4 o'clock. I've had it on for about 3.5 hours now. Here's how we're looking. This is also how it looks in natural lighting. Let me take a look. I feel like it's holding up really well. It's not settling too much into the fine lines that I have here in my smile line. Some foundations are really bad for that. This one's really not. It's doing a good job of not doing that. I feel like I have a really nice glow coming through. And so far, nothing's really breaking up. I just wore a mask and I had a laser hair removal appointment, so I was like a little bit sweaty, and everything still looks really nice. I will definitely say I think it has oxidized on me a little bit. Although maybe, yeah, it's definitely oxidized on me. So keep that in mind if you're choosing a shade. But yeah, I think it looks really good so far. Okay guys, so it's now 8 o'clock. I've had the foundation on for almost 8 hours, which I feel like is a pretty good length of time, and it is time for me to remove it. So I'm gonna give you some final thoughts. The creasing in my smile lines did not get any worse, and I'm actually really impressed with how little it did crease. I would say I'm starting to look a little bit cakey kind of throughout, and that is mostly going to come down to the fact that it's a matte foundation. For me, I always can see matte foundation sitting on my skin so much more than like a dewy or luminous foundation. So, I mean, it's kind of to be expected. I'd say for the most part, the coverage is still there. It's definitely starting to break up a little bit on my forehead, just right in the center here, which is kind of different for me. And that's also where I put powder. So you would think the areas where there was powder would not have separation, but it definitely is. It's breaking up on my nose as well, where I also did have powder. A lot of my natural oils are coming through. It does look very dewy, very luminous. So I would say even though it's called a matte foundation, it's definitely more of like a radiant matte, to where I've had problems describing this before. It's kind of similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush foundation, not in coverage or anything, but just in the way that it looks like a matte foundation on your skin, but it's still really glowy and it still lets all of the glow that you put underneath show through. So even though it is matte and it has a matte look on my skin, it's still very dewy, very luminous. It's hard to explain. If you've tried this foundation, I think you would know what I mean. But yeah, I would say for the most part, the coverage is still there. It's held up pretty well. Is it worth $170? That's gonna depend how much $170 is worth to you. But I would say if you're thinking about buying it, if it's something that you're considering, it's really nice. It's really beautiful. I'm definitely gonna keep it and continue to wear it. I really haven't been liking foundation lately. I've been liking things that are more like tinted moisturizers or my Merit little foundation stick that's super lightweight. And this just feels really nice. I can't feel it sitting on top of my skin. It hasn't been irritating me in the way that my other foundations have been irritating me, so that's really nice as well. And I do really like the fact that it has those skincare benefits. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this foundation a thumbs up. If you liked this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. That's gonna help me out a lot. You can leave me a comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.